Tonight in Major League Baseball, the Cubs will try to avenge a 10-run loss to Philly yesterday when they host the Phillies tonight. First pitch between the Royals and Reds from Kauffman Stadium is slated for 7:10 p.m. The Twins host the White Sox and the Cardinals travel to San Francisco. In the Stanley Cup Finals, Montreal avoided the sweep last night, winning 3-2 at home in overtime. Game 5 is tomorrow night with Tampa Bay up 3-1. For all your latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
And here we go.
You're in the recruiting hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're the 2 o'clock.
Yes, I am.
Here are your hosts, Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer. Brought to you by Bubbles and Blocks.
Welcome into the recruiting hour. I am Mike Schaefer, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, fresh from the East Coast, invigorated, excited,
Definitely.
certainly rested up and ready to roll. Connor Happer makes his triumphant return. You get the team of Schaefer and Happer for one day and one day only. So you damn well better enjoy it.
Well, I think there will only be this combination of people on this show
For one day this month.
This whole, I think it's a couple more than that. At the end.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That week.
I
keep jumping a week at the end of the month.
yeah.
No.
There's like 3 or 4.
Yep.
But
That's right.
it's not. It's few and far between.
Yeah. So we'll make the people earn it. We'll reward them at the end of the month for sticking around.
Yeah. What do they get?
I think they're gonna get an opening splash that might be
Totally
an
forgot
opening
about it.
splash to remember.
Oh yeah. Oh, good tease. I like
so
that.
there you go. I
I
mean,
like
we'll let the people guess and wonder on that. But Happer, welcome back.
Thank you, Schaefer.
Give me a quick rundown of the best thing that happened while you were gone.
Happened here or
No.
happened to me?
Happened to you? Like, what was obviously getting to spend time with your wife, great.
Of course.
Getting to go somewhere new, great.
Yep.
All of that. But just condense it. What was the best thing that you got to? Maybe it was a best food. Maybe it was a best, passing of a vehicle that you've executed better than you've ever remembered in your life. Maybe it was just driving across the United States gave you a feel for something that you want to do more car road trips.
I never got my wife is a great travel partner, but I never did get the proper kudos for navigating New York City traffic.
Yeah, I would not want to do it.
There were,
because you went to multiple boroughs. It wasn't like you just
That's
showed
right.
up and parked a car and took the subway around.
there were doubters as to if I could handle it. And it was one of the greatest achievements of my driving career.
Well, there
I
you
fit
go.
right in. I was assertive. I was not overly aggressive. I kept up with the flow. I didn't, make anybody honk at me.
Did you honk at anybody?
I honked. Yeah, I honked. You bet I honked. In fact, I was driving here today.
Did you ever roll down your window and just yell,
No.
I belong here?
No, I didn't. But I did not do that. But I was driving here today, and someone did a really stupid thing, and there was no hesitation laying on the horn for me. today.
Nice.
No, so
Big City Happer is back.
We're bringing horns to Lincoln.
All right.
Bring horns to Lincoln.
Happer's bringing the horns. I love it.
Yeah, I was.
Normally, the horns are just synonymous with Steve Sipple and the rare occasion he wins a game show in the morning.
I had some great food. I saw a new ballpark.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a good time. Put the rental car on a ferry
Ooh. To Staten Island.
so we were up in Boston, and we're gonna end up on Long Island in New York, and we drove down to Connecticut, New London, Connecticut, and took the Cross Sound ferry over to Orient Point, New York, which is one of the edges of Long Island. It was about an hour and a half, but
Is it the first time you'd ever had to take a vehicle onto a ferry?
as an adult,
yeah.
My personal,
Like you've ridden a ferry before.
yes, I've been
Yeah.
on a ferry, and I was a passenger on a ferry where we had to put
They
the car
pack
on
those
there.
cars in.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We took one in Iceland from the main country to a little island that sits off of it.
Yeah.
And I just remember like not trusting the Icelandic guy that's telling me how exactly to park my car.
Yeah.
Because it's like
they do this 8 times a day.
it's like I'm not a big dude. Like I still need room to get out of the vehicle and everything else. And it's like, am I gonna have to climb out of the back of this Suzuki Swift?
So they tell people to go. The end of the ferry ride is near. They tell people to go back down to the deck to get your car, and everybody's standing by their car. And I ended up talking to this one lady, and she's like, "I've been doing this ferry for 30 years. It's never been like this. I swear to you, it's never been like this." And I was like, "What do you mean it's never been like this?" And she's like, "The cars are never this close. They usually take room, put room in that. No, not today."
That your old lady voice actually sounded like a 2 out of 10 Donald Trump impression a little bit.
I mean, yeah.
Daddy is. I can't do it. There's no way. I love it though. I love the being the Midwestern kid with no accent growing up, and then you get out there.
It's just faster.
Yeah.
It's faster talking, faster everything, and you
more emphasis on literally every word.
And you just adjust, and then you become that person. And it doesn't take that long for that side of me to come out.
We actually have
I appreciate that speed.
We have a question from our production room.
Did you catch up with Lenny from NJIT? So I never told people about my long extended conversation with the New Jersey Institute of Technology athletic director.
Yeah, I had no idea what this was. Were you interviewing Nebraska's next athletic director when you were down in Arkansas?
I forget his last name, Lenny something, but
this could be looked up.
He told me everything about NJIT and their financials and what they want to do and his hopes and dreams and stuff like that. I did not get a chance to catch up with Lenny, unfortunately. He's busy trying to build that new ballpark, That's
Lenny Kaplan.
But Lenny Kaplan, yes, Lenny Kaplan. That's my guy.
He's the associate vice president / director of athletics.
That's right. And I just walked up to the guy at the Arkansas thing. I was like, he had an NJIT shirt on. I was like, so I just said something to start the conversation. So like, oh, you happy to be here or something like that? I don't know. Whatever the deal was. And he was
best start of a conversation I've heard in a while.
He fires off into this thing about how they need a new ballpark and they have this certain amount of money, but they're not getting any help from the city. And like,
what city are they in?
Newark.
Okay.
Yes, Newark.
The biggest city in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think so. But they have to share, spot with a couple other like random city parks in town. They don't have a home, and they want to build this ballpark because they really care about baseball, but they can't do it because they can't get any help.
I did not realize that you got the full on sob story.
It was like 30 minutes.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So. I wish I could repeat more of the details financially that he gave me, but I can't remember them.
Did you go to New Jersey at all on this trip?
Drove through, coming back. 8 states on the final day.
Nice.
8 states.
What was the longest extent? Like, obviously you had to stop to get gas, but your longest extended run of driving from time to time was what?
21 hours.
Wow. And it's just you. Jackie did not drive any leg of anything.
No, she offered, but I knew it was just it
was like just to get it on the record that there was an offer made, but no one actually in the car expected the offer to be accepted. Yeah,
we drove all the way. So on Friday, I was crossing over the George Washington Bridge and also crossing over from Iowa back into Nebraska too. It's pretty extreme. All in the same day.
Was there any tourist trap that you saw from billboards or anything that you almost pulled off into?
I'm one of those guys who at the hotels, we stayed at a few different hotels.
You get the brochures?
I get the brochures. Yeah.
Do hotels still do those?
Oh yeah, they're there.
That's awesome.
I got one for Martha's Vineyard. I got one for Cape Cod. I got one for this
family vacations. My brother and I would go down and like grab like 8 of them, bring them up, and my dad would just put them all in the trash, and we didn't get to do any.
Oh, I mean, I will never look. I looked at them at dinner last night. Maybe I looked at one of them. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. Well, it'll be thrown away within a week. But that's kind of what you do.
You can put it down for your next drive out.
Speaking of tourist trap, we did go.
I thought you were going to say the Bonnie Plunge.
No, tourist attraction, Pawnee Plunge.
I was worried there. I was like, oh no.
Tourist trap, Coney Island.
Oh, I love Coney Island.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's so great.
Oh, it's the worst place on earth.
It was so great. I loved it.
So we went, and this is 3 days before the hot dog eating contest, which is a just despicable
I assume
act.
it was absolutely packed.
No, there was nobody there.
That's crazy.
Nobody there. We went right at peak lunchtime too. They have at the actual Nathan stand right there. They have
it's right on the corner. You get off the subway and you're right
they
there.
have this line of 20 or 30 registers across so they can get everybody served because they're ready to serve 1 million people, whatever. 2 of them are open, and they don't know what they're doing. Everybody's moving extremely slowly. It was a horrible experience. We went for 30 minutes, got 2 hot dogs and left.
So when I went in August of 2019, it was like a Tuesday, or maybe it was a Thursday. It was like a middle of the weekday. And I was stunned how many people were there.
This is pre-pandemic.
Yeah. And like that Nathan's, they were using all the registers.
Oh,
it sounds like a very different experience than yours.
Yeah,
and it's 100% a tourist trap. Like I agree.
Totally.
I still thought it was just a lot of fun to just go walk up and down the boardwalk there.
It was cool to
check
see.
the shops,
I'm glad we
to
saw
see the people.
it, yeah.
I didn't ride any of the roller coasters. I would go to a Cyclones game if it timed out though.
Mhm.
Like, could they play a lot of midday games, which seems like the right thing to do when you're right there on the water and your ballpark is
No
next to this giant, swing of people. And so they have like a lot of 1 o'clock starts. And so I kind of want to time that out the next time I'm back.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Cyclones
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, they were getting the field because they did the hot dog eating contest on the field.
Mm-hmm. I saw. I watched what I could. There was a lot of technical difficulties.
Right. Yeah.
I bet the under on the
Oh
on
no.
the hot dogs
Oh, what was the number?
is 73.5.
Joey
I know.
Chestnut.
He went to 76, I believe? Yeah.
76.
But there was a moment there where there's about 1:45 left, and ESPN's coverage wasn't completely fuzzy, and you could see that he was at 60 hot dogs, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's not gonna rip this up. He ate 16
Yeah.
in 1:45.
Yeah.
Just
He saves the best for last.
well, he basically this is the incredible thing to me is that we're so into this contest now that ESPN has like a per minute breakdown of how he eats the hot dogs. And then there's like a little chart that's running underneath that sort of like shows you line graph style of it going
it's a
up.
pace.
And then it slows down and then at the big finish.
Mhm.
And it's like I would have just thought that you peak and then everything's just falling.
No, it really is a sport for that
Yeah.
reason. There's a strategy. You have to plan it out.
I want him to have a real challenger. Like
Me
when
too.
second place comes in 26 hot dogs shy.
Badlands Booker's past his prime. He's just rapping on ESPN.
He looked rough when
Yeah.
he won the lemonade chugging challenge.
That's honestly my favorite part of the hot dog thing is when they tell you what other eating champions
Well,
they are.
So the best part of it is this
One was
low
like the
rent Michael
clams.
Buffer doing the introductions
Yes.
of everybody. And
Yes.
it's like, this man ate more slices of Wonder Bread than anyone else in the state of Texas in
Right.
2013.
Yes.
Put your hands together for.
That's pretty
and then-
good.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it was.
That's pretty good. There was one guy who was like the clams eating
Mhm.
champion of the world. He eating the most clams. I'm like, ugh,
Wings.
disgusting.
Pierogies, like anything that's relatively poppable.
French fries.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard French fries.
I think you'd probably do it in like pounds of French fries.
That sounds not to go full Mark, who had a terrible food opinion while you were gone.
It's all horrifying.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Mark had a bad food opinion.
Mark feels like people use potatoes too much.
Oh, actually, somebody sent me that.
Hey man, I know you're on your vacation, but you gotta stop this.
That's exactly what the text said. I can't remember who it was from.
Probably Josh Peterson.
I think it was Josh
Yeah,
Peterson.
I mean, he was the one most up in arms over it.
Yeah, he sent me a text and he was like, "Hey man, hope you're having a good honeymoon, whatever." But
What is going on here?
What's happening here? And I just kind of looked at it and then I forgot about it. Nick called me on Friday or
Okay.
Wednesday, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." No, I do not in any way, shape, or form.
It was fine. We had a Wednesday show.
Yeah.
There's no problems. So, all right. So you were gone. Well, let's put a bow on this whole thing. Tell us about Fenway. You went to Fenway for the first time.
Yeah.
Whit Merrifield hit a leadoff home run.
He
Very
did.
cool experience for you as one of Whit's biggest fans.
I had never been a fan of a visiting team before. I
Oh.
have never seen the Royals on the road.
Oh, man. It's a pretty great experience.
Yeah.
Assuming that you're not treated ridiculously poorly. Like,
And I wasn't.
some of the jeering, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But and it's a little different. It's not like Red Sox fans hold any
No.
ill will towards Royals fans. So
No. There was mostly just like I was walking in my Royals jersey and they were like, yeah, at least he got a George Brett jersey and not a Jorge Soler jersey. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually kind of funny because he strikes out every time. But yeah, it's super cool. It's a totally different
I'm
experience.
amazed you've never gone up to Target to see the Royals or the awful ballpark in Chicago.
Never
Guaranteed rate.
Never seen the Royals on the road. I usually just go to.
Does it make you want to do that more?
Yeah, I think so. I go to these ballparks usually, and I just become a fan of whatever team that is for the day because I don't have a rooting interest in either team. Two things here. First of all, that wasn't the case. Second of all, I don't think I could become a Red Sox fan. That would be terrible for me. You go into the store across the street because they have to have the team store across the street, but it's this huge mega store.
Yeah.
They can't fit it in the stadium because the stadium's too old. And they have really cool stuff, but I just can't bring myself to buy any of it because
you don't want Red Sox gear.
I don't want any Red Sox gear. But the people and the atmosphere and, it was probably 150 degrees with no air and extreme humidity, but the whole thing was awesome. It was great. Very positive review.
As far as parks that you've been to, does it rank fairly high, middle of the pack?
I would think so. I would think that it's pretty high. I've now seen Fenway. I've now seen a game at Fenway and Wrigley, which I might say I'd give the nod to Wrigley slightly, but Fenway's a super cool. You get to see it one time. Oh, it's a green monster. Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's up there for sure. It's just I like it because it's unique, and there's a lot of ballparks that are just really the same now,
generic,
and that's different. That's unique. So it's a positive review for sure.
You're mentioning how you wouldn't be able to buy anything. I feel like I have at least 5 teams where, and it's probably a wider array than that, where I wouldn't want any of their stuff in my house.
I got a Fenway Park shirt.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And that was all because I wanted a souvenir. I also got a Rafael Devers bobblehead because it was Rafael Devers bobblehead night.
You need to bring it to the collection?
I forgot him today, but he's sitting at home. I am worried about
Rafael Devers is on the bench
today. I am worried about his limbs because it seems like when we put a bobblehead in the bobblehead place over there, somebody breaks their arm off. You could see Herky fell off his little platform there.
I don't know why there's so much roughhousing amongst the
everybody. Either you go into that corner, you either lose an arm or a head. I mean, it's automatic every time. I don't know what happens over there, but I never touch it.
Meanwhile, Fuzzy Zeller's just completely fine.
He's
the oldest
confused.
of them.
Yes.
Arguably the most sinister.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely the most racist out of them for sure.
Well, hold on. There's the Hawkeye. So
well, we don't know about his past.
Yeah. We don't. At least it's not a strength training coach.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So.
I don't know if he I don't want a Chris Doyle bobblehead, but
you won't be getting one from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, I will not. What's he doing now?
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't either. Just wondering.
He just gets paid to go away. He's probably the next athletic director for somebody.
Well,
so all right, let's we got about 5 minutes here. Let's kind of dive into what you were paying attention to. Did you try to follow along? Jamie Pollard spoke last week. There wasn't a lot of news that came out on the athletic director thing. Did you try to follow along on any of it, or did you largely just you pick up bits and pieces and you're doing your own thing?
I tried to not follow along, if we're being completely honest.
That's what I hope to do.
But I did see the Jamie Pollard thing. And outside of that, it's been quiet. It seems like, you're down to the names that we had at the beginning minus Jamie Pollard.
Yeah.
Basically. And nobody has a great sense seemingly on how long it's going to last or how short it's going to last at this point. So, it's kind of a wait and see. It does feel like, I don't know, maybe the more time that goes on, and this is just a read, I don't know anything, but it does seem like the more time that goes on, the more somebody in-house becomes a stronger option.
To which there's only one in-house person at this
I think there's 2.
Davison being the other?
Oh, I bet maybe there's 3 then.
Okay, so who?
Classy.
I was Classy and Cook.
Classy and Cook.
Yeah. I'm still not, and Sybil and I had this conversation last Thursday. I'm still not entirely at the point where I think that Nebraska views John Cook as a full candidate. So I don't know, but yeah, you're right. There are definitely two names there, and to hear Sipple tell it, Cook wants it. So that in itself is pretty interesting.
I don't know. I don't view Davison as a real.
I don't
option.
either.
Okay.
I have moved on. Initially, that was like a thing because there had been more than enough rumblings that this was, his end goal is to eventually be the athletic director at Nebraska. And I know that there was conversations that were had about where he was in the pecking order, but I don't think that he's a real candidate at this point.
But it does feel like the more time that goes on that both Garrett Classy
Yeah.
and John Cook are both real options.
I almost feel like at this point in time, Garrett Classy might be the favorite
That's that was my read
to get the job.
That was my read after being away from it for
Right.
a week and not really following it at all. They haven't landed on anybody.
Yeah, because there's no Jamie Pollard. Ed Stewart appears to have either stalled out or, it doesn't seem like there's much momentum there. And look, the last time there was an AD search, Bill Moose, who no one had heard of,
That was my point at the beginning.
pops up and is the next AD. So would we be that surprised if the current sitting athletic director of TCU
ADs,
or where I just picked TCU anywhere.
yeah, that would
is-
actually be a big splash because
He's at Texas
not
now.
Chris Del Conte anymore.
Right.
But so like hiring an AD and hiring a football coach, while
Aren't the same.
are not the same at all. Your goal when hiring a football coach should not be to get a big splash anyway, but it certainly helps when you do. If you do that as an athletic director, I don't think it really means much of anything. So I don't think that should be a goal or a thought really at all in this process. And it's all about timing and it's all about fit and what you have kind of in place already. Now, are there going to be tough decisions that are going to be have to be made? Yeah, for sure. Within the first couple of years of the job, but there's a lot of stuff that's in place that's good already. There's a lot of stuff to build off of, and so the timing of it changes the job drastically. And I don't think Nebraska needs another Bill Moose right now.
Yeah. Did you have any reaction when you first saw the numbers of Bill Moose and what he's going to be paid?
Yes, my reaction was what?
I think it's a standard fair reaction.
Yeah, like what?
They basically doubled his salary for him not to be there.
Which doesn't sound like a retirement to
Nope.
me.
Nope.
Okay, just making
So-
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was more or less everyone's kind of
Yeah.
sort of response to those numbers, and it also explains why the awkward clumsiness of those quotes existed as much as they did that Friday afternoon.
Apparently, it was my time. what was it?
Yeah, I was informed last week that I'd be retiring.
Apparently, I'd be retiring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they informed your accountant what you'd be receiving, and he's like, "All right, it's time to go."
Super odd.
So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, especially coming off the holiday weekend. I don't anticipate an announcement of a new athletic director for a little bit. I mean, it could be the middle of the month, and
Do you
then
think it happens by the time you get back?
yeah, I could see that there maybe is
Third
an
week of
announcement
July.
or a favorite. But it could drag out a little bit.
Okay.
It could absolutely drag out a little bit. All right. Speaking of getting back, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about Nebraska's latest recruiting efforts.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
You're listening to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I don't know about you guys, but I have been getting back out and hitting different restaurants, hitting different places, and I could not be more excited to get back to Bearshin in Benson, one of the best beer gardens around. The weather's starting to get good, and coinciding with that, they are going back to their full food menu. We're talking the burgers, the Johnny Hammer Pants sandwich, the pretzels, the fries, the salads, if you're one of those people. They got all of it. And they are now open Tuesday through Sunday. That allows you to get over to Bearshin, check out the food, the beer, hang out in the beer garden. You can get that $7 big cheese double Wagyu burger special on Tuesdays. Also, happy hour, 3 to 6, Tuesday through Friday. Don't miss it. Plus, if you're a soccer fan, it's the place to be in Benson.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
One unforgettable event. One chance to get up close and personal with some of the greatest names in golf. One opportunity to create memories that will last a lifetime. Get your tickets now for the U.S. Senior Open, coming to Omaha July 5th through the 11th at the Omaha Country Club. If you're looking for family fun for all ages, this is one championship you don't want to miss. For tickets, visit ussenioropen.com.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star childcare provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
Summertime is here and the temperature is rising. Beat the heat at Pawnee Plunge Water Park in Columbus all summer long. Pawnee Plunge features a full day of fun for the whole family, including the flow ride, the only one in Nebraska, a large swimming pool, diving boards, a lazy river, climbing wall, and of course, massive water slides. It's a great place for parties or a great spot to lounge around all day long. Book your party by calling 402-562-4269. Come splash and play the Pawnee Plunge Way in Columbus from May 31st through August 8th.
Back to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer, presented by Bubbles and Blocks. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticket.fm.com.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Hour. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer here on Tuesday. My last show of the week, his first show in a week. Just times out really well.
Mm-hmm.
So the Recruiting Hour, just going to throw this out there. The Recruiting Hour will be on a hiatus for about a 2-week stretch.
About 2 full weeks.
Yeah. So, and then we will return, and we will return right in the heart of Big Ten Media Days, and it will be great, and we will be excited to be back.
Yep.
So, just a brief program.
Well, I mean, it's a big week for you, Schaefer.
Yeah.
We talked about
no
this
cavities.
This is your first time here this week, so you know you're getting married this weekend.
It's true.
So that's extremely exciting.
So I don't know if it was like this for you with the last few days. I just have like a long list for Tuesday and for Wednesday. That's just like, I don't care what else you do in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accomplish all of these things.
Yeah. For me, that was Thursday and Friday and we were going nonstop.
Yeah. Cause we're doing, we're going to the Senior U.S. Open on Thursday. And so we're actually, everything's kind of like pushed up a day so that way we can sneak that in there.
Gotcha.
Which I'm pretty excited about. I've never been to a professional golf event unless you count covering state golf championships for like Class A and all of that.
That is not professional at all.
Right, exactly. And so that's the closest thing I've come to even attending like a golf tournament. So I'm excited. I'm gonna basically just find Ernie Els and follow him around and try to get a commitment for Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't care how he's playing. He just needs to
Ernie,
show
did
up
you get
Saturday.
my wedding invite?
Your
You
social
jerk.
media manager tell you before I got blocked?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that's my week. But before we get there, we need to discuss what happened over the weekend. Not a strong one for Nebraska. Fireworks were going off everywhere in the recruiting world. July 4th was a very popular, I know, stunning to believe, very popular commitment date across the country. Nebraska did not add anyone, however. They did miss out on James Mons, the defensive back out of Florida. We've talked
People
a lot
had
about
their
him.
jimmies rustled about this one.
People's jimmies are very rustled about Nebraska's recruiting right now.
The
I
Mons
thought-
one, though, was
and he
I
has the
felt
highest Q rating. He has the highest Q rating of anybody in this class. It's his great uncle was a defensive back here and an All-American.
Okay, now I want to stop you there because people are referring to him as a legacy, which I mean, he's technically a legacy, but
Yeah.
it's not like his dad played here.
Right. And then I was erroneous for a while because I kept saying uncle, and then it's like, oh, you do the math on it. It's actually his great uncle.
Right.
So it's family.
And you've also previously mentioned that he has connections to a lot of programs.
Right. Well,
Indiana
so-
not being one of them.
his dad and his dad's brothers, and then their dad and his, so like
right,
the family just has populated a lot of colleges because they're very athletic. Like they have baseball players, they have football players. James Mons might be as good of a soccer player as he is as a defensive
really?
back. So they're just an extremely athletic family. So there are connections a lot of different places. But he was very open, especially when he got the Nebraska offer, about just like what he knows of Nebraska and like sitting down with Wander and talking about Nebraska when they first started recruiting him. And so there was always this kind of personal connection that was built between Nebraska and James Mons that people really enjoyed and they really liked because it ties back to when Nebraska football was good. And it was a very popular player in Wander Mons. And so all of that sort of resonated with just angst and unhappiness when Indiana ends up with a commitment from a defensive back that Nebraska wanted. When Nebraska was a distant third behind Indiana and Wisconsin is what came out at the end of the week before that decision. And you look at the rest of the recruiting class and people are basically just kind of like shrugging their shoulders because it's not an exciting class right now. And I feel like I've done a poor job because I feel like on this show, I've talked several times, like this isn't going to be a top 15, top 20 class. Like I've said that. I know I have.
Yeah.
And we've even had the conversation. Nebraska may not have a 4-star in this class.
Well, it's hard because I think what people look, you want the number at the end of the day. You want your class to be top 25 and you want to be in the middle range as far as the Big Ten or right behind the major programs in the Big Ten, keeping on pace with what you have done before recruiting wise. But as you're following it throughout the cycle, you're mainly looking for storylines.
Yeah.
And the storylines, as it pertains to this particular Nebraska recruiting class, have all been negative. They've missed out on almost all the in-state targets. Yep. They've missed out on seemingly their top targets. All these top targets seem to emerge at whatever time. And you got a whatever offer and he's going elsewhere. He's down in Nebraska and somebody else, he's going elsewhere. So that's been a bit of a gut punch at every stage so far. That doesn't mean you don't have quality guys in the class,
right?
Which I think they definitely do and will continue to. But you're right. And then the numbers thing affects it too. They're not going to take as many kids this year.
Right. Well, they're going to have a 15, 16 person class that's probably going to finish right around 30 to 38 in the country and maybe even a little lower than that. Yep. I mean, and with the idea being that they're going to bring some seniors back, that they're going to play in the transfer portal again. Like they're not going to stop accumulating talent by any means. It's just, it's hard for people to accept that this is where Nebraska sort of finds itself in in some part because of how they performed on the field. And I do want to stress that.
No doubt.
In another part, they have had, and I know that they had a lot of people in June, they have had hundreds less players for the 2022 class, hundreds less players on campus. You think about the fact they didn't get to have any camps in 2000 or in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get to have any camps or any players come in for games. Like, you know what those game days are like. You know what the sidelines like. And I can go through the list of people that they had in basically to set up the future classes. Like, they have sophomores and juniors in. We spend a lot of time talking about the official visitors and guys of that nature, but they're always bringing in people that are younger so they can get the experience and they build that relationship. It hit Nebraska. It affected Nebraska differently than it did other programs. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for them. Ultimately, their job is still to get the best players that they can. They haven't done that to the degree of which they had in the past, and they have to get better at it. And I think everybody can acknowledge that aspect of it. But we are right now, this is where Nebraska finds themselves in part because they've had 4 straight losing seasons on top of it.
Right. So based on that and the current state of everything that you and I both just explained, it's okay to say it's not up to what we want it to be. Like, it's not, but that's okay. And you probably get a pass on that as long as you win on the field.
Yep.
Right.
Well, there needs to be something, right? And that's the biggest problem with Nebraska football, as I can determine it right now, is that you have a waning level of enthusiasm about the kids that you're bringing in, and a very tepid, and tepid is the best word I can use to describe, maybe cautious enthusiasm about the season that you're about to have. Like, you have to ultimately give people something, or you're just going to lose them all.
Yep.
And they've already lost a fair amount of people, not in terms of they're not going to watch the games or anything, but in terms of just a belief that this is a staff that's going to take this program
or just
somewhere.
general excitement for it, buzz for it. That's what matters in recruiting.
There's not a buzz about this program.
Yeah.
Or if there is, it's seemingly about things like, hey, they just pushed their AD out and they gave him $2.9 million.
So if
they're trying to duck Oklahoma, or Scott Frost said something about Luke McCaffrey again.
Right.
Or, like, that's the only time Nebraska there's any buzz. It's never good.
If it goes the other way and they don't have a good enough season this year, whatever that may be for people, the recruiting class just becomes another bullet point for like, this isn't working, right? But it all, I mean, that's like the first point is the most important point. Win some games in the field, and the recruiting thing will fix itself, and you can continue to build from there.
I feel very strongly that even if Nebraska goes out and they win 5 or 6 games, which theoretically they should win more than that, we'll see what happens. The 2023 class is going to be better for a variety of reasons, and not the least of which is they would have gotten more time of getting these kids on campus, developing those relationships, and they've already hit with some in-state kids like a Ben Bramer and a Gunnar Gatula that could rank fairly high by the time this is over. They're seemingly in a good spot for Maverick Noonan and for Tuioti. There's some other area 2023s where it looks pretty good right now. So I don't think that I'm out of my gourd if I'm saying right now that I think the 2023 class will be substantially better. There's contextual factors for that. If they win at a higher level, like let's say they somehow pull off 8 or 9 wins, the ceiling goes way up for that 23, 24.
Not only that, this class becomes better too.
Maybe. The problem with that is I think there will come a point in time where Nebraska is sort of done recruiting this class. And
I don't know. We always say that, and I think there is a path to it, but spots come open.
Sure. Well, and they've been aggressive at the end of cycles before, and we know what it didn't work out in 2020 with some of those guys they brought in late.
You got to strike while the iron's hot. The problem is you got to get the iron hot. And so that'll be the first thing, and then you can try and strike.
I'm now just imagining people huddled around waiting for the iron to preheat.
Just rubbing their hands together.
Come on, check. How many minutes has it been? Are we ready yet?
Just like Tom Hanks in Castaway at the fire.
Oh, yeah. Just waiting for that first spark of warmth.
I have made fire.
Meanwhile, Wilson floats away. So, yeah, I don't know who the next commitment's going to be. I don't know if it's going to happen when I feel fairly confident there will be at least one when I'm gone. That's usually the case. But this is just where the class sits right now. I don't want to like try to make anyone feel better. I don't want to try to make anyone feel worse. I think if you just objectively look at it, you're disappointed with where Nebraska's recruiting is. But you also have to acknowledge that contextually they were probably hurt more than most programs.
Recruiting is the result of, especially recruiting buzz, if you don't follow it day to day, right? And that's what, like I said, I think that's how most people kind of approach it. It's the result of a lot of different things, like you said, and it to some extent dictates how people feel about the program, but also it follows that as well. So yeah, I mean, they need to win some football games. They need to get some positive things, positive topics generated about themselves. You know,
I mean, I know we say this every year, but I need the season, if only because the off season just feels like I'm in a vice grip, and it's annoying. Like it's so incredibly like you can't get 2.5 weeks anymore without Nebraska football appearing to look bad on a national stage.
Yeah, and we wonder what.
And
that
it's
does
not
to
even like
recruiting.
appearing to look bad because they lost to Ohio State 56-35. It's now nothing to do with the football. It's just the powers that be, or the head coach or whatever. And I am never been more excited for a season to start early, because by the time I don't know, what is it, 26th of August? Is that the first game?
29th or 8th?
Yeah, somewhere in there. We're gonna need that day. Now, how Nebraska performs?
Well, then
we could have a different conversation that Monday.
Yeah, then a different thing starts to happen, right? So yeah.
So you were gone as this kicked off. I'm sure this would have been difficult to avoid even if you tried it. NLI, your just brief general thoughts from afar as these things popped up and infiltrated your timelines of everything.
Well, I definitely saw some bigger deals from the select few.
Mhm.
There was I think it was like Master P's son or something like that, got a huge like $3 million deal or something like that. But why? Because he's Master P's son. He has a whole bunch of Instagram followers, right?
Yep.
So I mean those are the outliers, and I know people like to focus on those things. It's gone almost exactly how I thought it was going to go. There will be players and athletes who benefit from this, but not in like a sinister way of like, I'm gonna get mine, I'm gonna benefit from it because it's my time now. It's just like, well, maybe they want to run a football camp like Ben Stilley, or maybe they want to sell shirts with their name on it. And that's, or maybe
or a logo or whatever.
Maybe they want to run a Twitch stream or something like that, and that's all fine. We won't notice this.
Yeah. I honestly, the further you get into an actual season starting, the less you think about these things as it is anyways.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's going to be that much of a niche that there's going to be a college version of Darren Ravel running around alerting you to all of it.
Yeah, there
might be, but I just don't. Maybe I'm too trusting of people.
Wasn't there
I just don't think people are going to care?
Wasn't there a Darren Rovell Nebraska thing?
Yeah, he like
Matt Sichterman, right?
Yes, because Matt Sichterman opted in on the GoPuff thing, and
still don't know what that is.
It
didn't have enough time to figure that one out.
It basically snacks can be delivered to your door. I guess.
Great.
I don't really know how it all works. That's what I figured out from the tweets.
I love snacks,
but he had some sort of wording with it that just seemed sort of bizarre and very Darren Ravel-esque. I didn't even want to look it up because I don't want to look at his account if I can avoid it.
It did seem he was like backup lineman takes advantage of this deal or something like that.
Well, it's stupid. Everything with Darren Ravel is stupid. I just want to be.
I totally.
I want to be on record with that as much as possible.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back. We'll talk about Nebraska basketball has their non-conference schedule out. I have some thoughts on it, which
we have some questions.
We have questions. We'll get to some questions too. We'll talk a little basketball. We'll get some questions, and we'll finish up the show next.
You're listening to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you. all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything that is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkhemp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Mike Schaefer here with 5-star childcare provider Lee Beecher from Bubbles and Blocks. Let's start with what makes Bubbles and Blocks special.
We have 3 beautiful locations in Lincoln that provide the safety, security, and reliability you need while also bringing a family feel to each classroom at every location.
I also hear some congratulations are in order.
Thank you. Yes, we just won the Lincoln Choice Award for Best Daycare and Preschool for the 3rd year in a row.
What should people do if they want to join the Bubbles and Blocks family?
Call to set up a tour to enroll your child today, or you can visit bubblesandblocks.com to apply to join our team.
The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef is Lincoln's newest full-service butcher shop, offering premium fresh-cut steaks and house-made sausages daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They exclusively carry certified Piedmontese beef raised right here in Nebraska. When shopping at the Mercado, you're not only supporting local, but also enjoying the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. With prime-grade tenderness and unparalleled nutritionals, your backyard barbecue is about to get a serious upgrade. Stop into the Mercado today, located off 84th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Allo Business customers get more than just fast, reliable connections. They get service and support to meet all their voice, data, and TV needs. Because supporting your business is our business. Allo delivers peace of mind with a 100% fiber network, hosted PBX solutions, redundancy protection, and best-in-class service to back it all up. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685. That's 402-480-6685.
One unforgettable event. One chance to get up close and personal with some of the greatest names in golf. One opportunity to create memories that will last a lifetime. Get your tickets now for the U.S. Senior Open, coming to Omaha July 5th through the 11th at the Omaha Country Club. If you're looking for family fun for all ages, this is one championship you don't want to miss. For tickets, visit ussenioropen.com.
Don't you feel so free out here on the lake?
Not as free as this soda.
Where'd you get free soda?
Casey's. Buy 4 fountain drinks, 5th one's free.
I love free.
Bought this jerky, got this free donut too. And these chips could win me a free Lee Brice concert here in our town.
With Casey's Summer of Freedom sweepstakes, the more you buy, the more you can win, including a free Lee Brice concert for your town. Casey's, here for good. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, visit Casey's.com.
Mike Schaefer here. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaving changed my life the past few years with their 10-week challenge, and now you can get your life and fitness back on track too. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with the 10-week challenge with orientation on July 10th and the workout starting July 12th. Their teamwork, accountability, and results keep you going 45 minutes at a time. And if you can't make it to the gym, they have an at-home video component now. Sign up today for the Farrell's 10-week challenge and mention the ticket for a 50% discount at fxblincoln.com.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Who's the Clemson quarterback? Ukulele.
DJ Uyunglele.
Yeah.
Ukulele.
Yeah. So he'll unveil something, right? That'll cause a splash. If Trevor Lawrence was still around, we'd look to see what he's doing.
Can you please try to say the Clemson quarterback again?
Uyunglele. Well, I don't know. Did you pronounce it right?
I did.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning. Back to the Recruiting Hour with Mike Schaefer and Connor Happer. Presented by Bubbles and Blocks. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Hour. Mike Schaefer, Connor Happer here, finishing things up once again. Last Recruiting Hour for a couple week stretch here. We will come back when Nebraska has Big Ten Media Days. I believe that is the 22nd of July.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Thursday and Friday.
So that's when I will be back. And yeah, everybody should enjoy everything in between.
I'll be in Indianapolis.
All right.
Which I've never been.
Yeah. Okay. I've been there a couple times. I don't really have any recommendations for you.
Great.
When I went, Nebraska lost by a bajillion points. And the day before we had talked about buying flights in advance to go to the Rose Bowl. So Didn't quite work out that way.
Oof.
And then I was there another couple times, but mostly just passing through. Do we want to let's do a little basketball first?
Okay, basketball.
30 seconds or less. Your thoughts, Delano Banton. Go.
I miss him. I love him. No, I don't know. Relatively surprising that he stayed in the draft, I guess. I had planned on him coming back, but not hard to see why scouts would take a shot on a guy with that type of skill set. Coaches always think, and organizations always think, that they could fix people. The shooting thing needs to happen for him in order to be a successful player at the next level. And honestly, I don't think it can happen without that. So that's the project.
Yeah.
That's the project for Delano Banton.
I also think the lack of a defined role of what he was going to be at Nebraska probably made it a little bit easier for him to.
It could have played a factor.
Made it easier for him to just stick with the NBA draft. Sticking with basketball, the non-conference schedule came out, and it's a fool's errand to try to do this, but I feel like Nebraska can confidently feel like Nebraska can win 8 games on that schedule. I mean, it's your difficult ones are basically you have mostly home games. You have 2 road appearances where you're going to play NC State. You're going to play Auburn. NC State seems like a game Nebraska, if it is playing well, could win.
As long as you don't crap your pants against Western Illinois, Sam Houston State.
They have a bunch
Idaho
of wins
State,
built into it.
Southern, Tennessee State, South Dakota, and Kennesaw. That's 7.
Yeah. So if you can get 2,
and then all you have left is
2 of the 4.
All you have left is Creighton, NC State, Auburn, and K-State.
Right. If you can get 2 of those 4, you have a 9-2 non-conference season.
Sure.
Which seems very doable. I don't love how many conference games they play now, though. Because
there will be conference games mixed in there.
Well, but it's also just like they play 20 conference games now. That's a 31 game schedule.
Yeah,
I would prefer they had 2 more non-conference games. It would allow them to pad their record a little bit. They win. You go 9-2. You theoretically could be on the precipice of a bubble if you play well in the conference. But then if you go, you would have to basically go 10-10 to have any shot at being a bubble team.
Is Auburn going to be any good?
Auburn's usually pretty good. They weren't last year, but normally Bruce Pearl has things going in the right direction. And especially now that he no longer has to worry about, being found guilty of anything with shoe companies.
I assume K-State will be better because they were horrible last year.
Both K-State and NC State seem like games that, those are toss-ups. Creighton's probably, I feel like, should be a win for Nebraska, given where Creighton is at.
We'll see how that develops. And you'll like that you play them that early this year because they're like Nebraska was a couple years ago, was just trying to figure out what's what.
So I think 9-2 is very feasible. 8-3 at the worst. So
will we get to see some Thomas Allen?
Tom Allen is on NC State.
All right, that's good. Western Illinois, former home of Kobe Webster.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the opening game, I think.
It is after the charity exhibition, of course, which is on Halloween.
Which does not count towards the record.
No, but cool.
Yeah.
Either way.
No.
Dry Horn left Colorado.
He's gone.
Very sad.
Yeah.
I wanted a Dry Horn homecoming.
Did he go back to
Tulsa?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What a career for
one of my
Horn.
favorite college basketball experiences of all time. Dry Horn.
All right, what do we got on the text line? What are these questions?
People are wondering about, Andrew specifically actually is wondering about some decisions
Coming
for
up.
the in-state guys
that
aren't considering Nebraska. So Devin Jackson, Caden Helms, Micah Riley Ducker.
Yeah.
Any updates on those guys?
So the Micah Riley Ducker thing is interesting. Auburn suddenly has emerged as a favorite there, which I am fascinated by because I don't know what Brian Harsin is now the coach at Auburn. Micah Riley Ducker does not fit at all into what Gus Malzahn did. I don't know what Brian Harsin does on offense, so I can't speak to that. But I would be really, really intrigued if he ends up going to Auburn. That would be better than I might have anticipated. I thought this for sure was an Iowa-Wisconsin thing, and now it looks like it could be Auburn. And then you have Caden Helms. I think that's still very much Oklahoma, and then Miami seems very confident for Devin Jackson as well. We saw Deshaun Woods on Saturday committed to Missouri. And so you're going to start to see these guys kind of end up with their future homes. And I think this is all basically going to be done in the month of July. I don't really anticipate those guys to go too much later than that.
And there's nobody else out of that group, right?
Nope, that's it. Those are the 4.
Is there another in-state guy who were? I mean,
Rickles committed to Air Force.
Okay.
Applegate and Hausman are to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. So that's
Stanger.
That's
Stanger
6.
and Lofton is Lewis Central.
Is that 6 FBS guys?
7 FBS guys, because Stanger went
Pretty
to
good.
or not FBS, 7 Power 5 guys.
7 Power 5.
There's going to be Sauter and I were talking about. There's probably going to be about a dozen to 14 FBS guys by the time this is done. So you already have 2 at Northern Illinois. You have 2 at Air Force. You have 1 at Wyoming. There's 7 Power 5, so that's 12.
Wow.
And there's still some other guys that could pop up at some different schools.
Could you remind me of the guys who were committed to those MAC schools?
So Air Force is Dominic Rizak and Henry Rickles. That just happened over the weekend. Jake Gassaway from Millard South committed to Northern Illinois, and Garrett Oakley from SCOTUS committed to Northern Illinois. And then Wyoming picked up Caden Becker. And I think
I do remember
Wyoming might have another one as well from out west. Not from out west. The kid from Bergen in Fremont, McIntyre. I can't think of his first name.
Okay.
He just committed to Wyoming. So it's actually 13. They're at third. So Sauter and I were wondering if this could be the single largest class that Nebraska has had go to on scholarship, go to FBS schools.
That'd be something, yeah.
So
and with all those with all those Power 5 guys too, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're in a stretch where 2013, you're going to see a bunch of names too. Like there's just going to be a lot of people.
2023.
Or 2023. I am just off.
You're a decade off today.
I said 2000
You said
at one
2000
point.
earlier. That was weird.
State golf tennis was a word that I said in today's show, or a phrase I said in today's show. Rico's looking at me because he didn't hear it earlier.
Yeah,
but
he
heard
said
it now.
state golf tennis.
Which would be an interesting combination. Of
I
sports.
play golf tennis.
I don't know how golf tennis would work.
Jake, I bet, would play golf tennis.
Jake probably has a story about how good he was at golf tennis, and then he like choked.
He probably went to state in golf tennis, just like you covered.
Yeah, just like I covered.
State golf tennis.
I don't know where state golf tennis would take place. Is there a golf course by Tranquility that you could blend those two?
Yeah, the Knolls.
That's a fitting home for state golf tennis. It really is. All right, everybody. I am gone for a while.
Goodbye.
Happer is here forever. So enjoy him. The drive is coming up. I'm out.